All right, Scott, thanks so much for joining me, man. I think it's exciting to see the groundwork that was laid for the NBA Live franchise, and I know you played a major role in that. So I think you actually have an interesting story, and it's one that fans of all games will be interested in hearing. So, we are going to talk about the game, but I'd like for you, if you can, tell me how you came to be involved with the development of NBA Live.
How I came, all right, hopefully I don't bore too many people. I started off, I was playing from 2008 to 2012, I was playing overseas, and throughout that time, growing up, I was just, I grew up on Lakers Celtics, obviously, and then went to Tecmo NBA Hoops, and so I was really just a diehard sports gaming guy, and I was really frustrated with how feedback was given to developers and just I had enough with Madden guys in the forums complaining about hand towels when I thought there was gameplay improvements that needed to be had, and so I guess on to that point I was overseas playing, and I created a site, OG Sports, which was only out there for about 6 months. Did really well. We were doing podcasts, all types of guys, community guys, Big Czar. We really hit it off. That got noticed and recognized by the guys here at EA. I came down for their advisory council for 13 during one of the off seasons of playing. Next thing you know, about a month later, I was given an opportunity to work on the franchise. So I got here at EA in June of last year, and then 13 was canceled, and then from then on, man, I've just been working on 14.
Sounds awesome, man. One of the things that, obviously you played, play professionally, so that's a great, quality to have, and makes you even more valuable to the team. But what I think is extremely interesting, especially even from a personal standpoint, and there's a lot of gamers out here, man, that really are passionate about the game and having it come through as true to life as possible. And you mentioned some of you were like guys complaining about hand towels and stuff, and that kind of thing actually does kind of get to me sometimes too. It's I think the little internet shorthand SMH is probably the most overused shorthand in the history of the world, because people will say stuff like Derrick Rose doesn't have his leg sleeves, shaking my head. I'm like, wow, man. It's like, is that really what is gonna really just throw you like completely down the street because Derrick Rose doesn't have his leg? He might not even wear them tonight. You know what I mean? So it's just something that kind of blows me. But it's awesome because you basically took something that was your passion and you built it, and it grew into this opportunity for you to work on a game that you had played anyway. And I think that's something that's inspirational, man, to a lot of guys out here that's, I don't even care if you don't like NBA Live. If you're sitting out here and you're looking and you're listening to this video, or you're watching this video, and you have a strong passion for gaming, and you have the inkling to build a site or something where you can actually just have your voice heard, have other hardcore gamers' voice heard. I mean, just listen to OG's story, and man, I think it's incredible, man. To be honest.
Hey, man, I really appreciate that. Especially coming from another hoop head like yourself. It was that, man. It was just the feedback that was going on, and just kind of where things were headed. You started seeing rings and all these other features that were coming about, and weapons with icons, and it just got, I just felt like it was becoming too much, and now I wanted to, as you'll see this year in Live 14, we introduced something with team-specific defenses. No basketball game has ever had that. I call the guy, the casual gamer, I always call him Johnny. Will Johnny recognize that? Probably not. Mm-hmm. But I hope the hardcore guys will, and then animations and all that other stuff that's been problematic in live. I mean, that's the stuff now that we'll constantly polish and tune. The thing with the Ignite engine is a guy like myself who just got in here last year can come in, and I do have somewhat of an animation background in college, so that does help. So, I mean, just going forward, as you'll notice with some of the dribble moves and signature style dribble packages that we have for the 50 players, yeah, that's stuff we're constantly, going to polish and tune. But I just wanted the community to finally understand now that when you attack these defenses, you have to attack them, as a real NBA team would, strategically. What does it mean to have, proper rhythm and momentum and angles? Angles have never mattered in a basketball game. And why do I get free throw line extended on side pick and roll, and why, do I choose to use this flat screen instead of a down? Like, it's just all those types of things that we can use this platform and really educate the basketball gamer as well. I think it's just huge going forward.
I think so too, man. I think it's something that is definitely important, and I think that I know that there is a crowd of gamers who would appreciate that aspect of the game. I don't think that, and you can correct me if I'm wrong in saying this, but I don't think that there's anybody that's out here just trying to convince people that, live is the most, visually impressive next-gen game that came out. Now, you let me know if I'm...
Yeah.
Okay.
You're 100% right. And we've never said that it's the greatest game since sliced bread anyways. This is a foundational year for us. You got to remember that, 13 didn't ship.
Mm-hmm.
So, when a game doesn't ship, I'll, just let you picture just how bad it was.
Mm-hmm.
When I came in last year for the advisory council, I was like, oh, this thing is rough. We got a lot of things we got to do.
Yeah.
And, this wasn't a 4-year cycle. This is a 1 year, just under 1 year. And, we're rewriting systems, new locomotion systems, the bounce tech. Like, we're releasing the ball to physics. So we're not allowing you to span the left stick anymore. You have to properly plant and turn, and, like I said, momentum is preserved. It's a nice competitive balance. And then the look, all that stuff will come.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to tell you, one of the main things that made me really want to do this interview with you, aside from the fact that I was intrigued by your story and the way you got involved with the game, but as I sat with all of the developers and stuff like that at the PlayStation review event, everybody was passionate, but your guys' passion and pride for your project really kind of stood out to me. Not saying that you guys care more about your game than other guys care about their game, but just considering where Live has come from, the franchise, where it's come from, and how much effort it had to take to even get the game released this time. I really had a sincere respect for that, and that I think that was one of the things I really wanted to have you guys have an opportunity, of someone instrumental with the game have an opportunity to talk about. What is the primary focus? I think I know, but what was the primary focus for this initial or this the resurgence or the reappearance of the franchise?
I think I appreciate the comments. The core, man, was just getting everything right on the floor. Like, you can tell like a lot of the guys now, hey, where's OTP? Where's this? Like, hey, let's get rebounding working first.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get these core systems, and then let's keep building on these, and then all that stuff comes. Like, we know we have I'm checking the Twitter all the time of what the community wants. I'm in the forums, listening to you, all types of stuff, and just looking for feedback. So that was it, the core. That was it, like dribbling. Like, we gotta make sure we nail this. I always go back to Live 10. Live 10 was probably the prettiest game, but it was also the game that had two-man wraps everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And just the overall feel, you felt like you were constantly getting hit. And yeah, it was 4 years ago, but our game is really free. If somebody like me who just came in, if you were to tell me that you haven't shipped a game since 2009, 2010, and yet you were going to have team-specific defenses, individual dribble moves for over 50 players, new locomotion system on defense, offense, a new way of adaptive AI, synergy sports being completely driven into this AI like you've never seen, I would have laughed right in your face. But I think with these new consoles, people are so, what does it look like? What does it look like? That they don't see through, they don't see through that. So one thing we really like about our game is that it gets better the more you play it. It just keeps you figuring things out. It's a layered system: play calling, dribble moves, all that.
Definitely. I mean, I would say, that when I understand and I totally agree with you about the graphics thing. I mean, because to be quite honest, what is it? Probably, I would say 90 to 95% of gamers are graphic whores. I mean, that's just what it is. That's just what it is. It's and I don't completely blame everybody for that, because I always say, as long as eyeballs are the primary organ needed to enjoy a video game, is graphics are gonna matter. But I try to it's almost, it's kind of like if you're going to see a house, and you go see a house and you go drive up to it and it looks kind of rough. It's going to take a special person to actually go inside that house and say, oh wow, the floors are finished, and oh wow, you look at the tiling, look at the chandeliers, and it's almost kind of, and you could miss out on a gem if you drive away simply because it didn't look great on the outside, or it didn't look the best on the outside. So I kind of make that that kind of a comparison with this particular game, because I mean, we would be sitting up here lying if we said we looked at if you do a comparison of player models on 2K and player models on Live, and like, oh wow, it looks the same. No, I mean, we'd be lying. But I think that when you evaluate a game and you review a game, you got to review every aspect of it, not just one. So that's why when I break down a review, I'm doing graphics and animation, I'm doing gameplay and realism, I'm doing sound and presentation, and I'm doing the game modes and the options. And I think if you do that, you're looking at it from a holistic standpoint, as opposed to just getting stopped on one thing.
Totally, and I think that's why your stuff is very good and it's so well respected. and that's just something I don't expect from a lot of guys, but I expect them to give it more of a shot. Look into the settings, what's in there, how can I play it for more than a week, and then give me your feedback. It was one of those things, like, I'll never jump into the forums like right now that the game just got launched, because people are so reactionary, and what I'm trying to change is that guys are more educated on how these games are developed and how we can get things in a 1-year cycle, instead of them just going, oh, this dude, like you said, doesn't have his leg sleeve, game sucks. Like, that is just that happens all the time throughout all the sports titles. And I think your analogy is spot on, because I said the same thing years ago about if you remember NBA Inside Drive.
Yes.
That was one of the better AI systems that we had ever seen. Some people said, oh, this looks terrible, I can't play this. But if you looked at what was going on, it wasn't a bad game.
Yeah.
It's just, everybody has their own style, what they like, and you got to just go from there. But I feel like you did growing up with Lakers versus Celtics. Like, I always felt like I owed it to EA. I owed it to because this is what I grew up with. Bringing it back is special to me. And going forward, even the plans that we got for 15, I'm really, really excited. We're just touching the surface,
So I would definitely ask this. I mean, so you would say that there are plans to upgrade the artwork and upgrade the player models and upgrade the animation system, which are some of the things that people are going to point out about the game.
Yeah, I would say, I'm not in control of that department, obviously, but I'd say we're always trying to improve. Improve those, improve the visuals, and just improve everything about gameplay. It's going to be something people don't like. Hey, there's too many blocks. Okay, we'll take a look at it and see what's going on. Everything is going to be improved. Instead of just throwing out, hey, look at this brand new feature that we got, and you're just like, oh, okay, well, I've heard that again. No, I think our focus is just stay with the core, stay with that connected consumer, because that's what it's about, right? That fresh content daily, new synergy. Your accessories are constantly updated, new playbooks, new tendencies, new coaching strategies. Like, That's what I personally would want in my dynasty. I think that's what a lot of community guys would want. It's different. It's organic. It's not, oh, okay, well, I'm down 2. I know where my bread's buttered. Pick and roll slip every time. You know, like just stuff like that. You know.
You mentioned you made a term. You mentioned the term, and I believe I know what you mean by it. But for people who may not know, you mentioned 2-man raps. So kind of explain what you mean by 2-man raps.
Games before 2-man raps is basically it's where you're just putting together, you're lining up 2 animations, and it looks really good when you do it. But it's basically scripted gameplay, and that is something we've really steered far from.
Okay.
Like sometimes you'll see a great. In other games, you see a great, layup and a block. But what people don't realize is that when they hit that button, that outcome is determined by about 5 feet from the basket. And that's sometimes games have done that before, and then it's kind of like a random dice roll instead of of really true competition being valued.
Gotcha.
And that's what we're trying to go for with our system. That's the great thing. It's really free. It's really independent. And then, but you do lose some visual fidelity, and then that's where we try to, close that gap, which we're doing.
Got it. I really appreciate, like I said, I really appreciate your passion and also, just the effort given to, put into to produce a video game. Period, man. But I did want to backtrack a little bit to talk a little bit more about you. You mentioned that I know there's a few, kind of well-known players or whatever that you've competed against. Who are some of the guys that you actually competed against in your professional career that may resonate with people?
Oh, geez. I had a little workout with Portland and the Blazers in 2008. So, when, Brandon Roy was doing his thing.
Yeah.
LaMarcus Aldridge, those guys. Played against some quite a good players. My teammate in Australia, Julius Hodge.
NC State.
Played at NC State. Yeah. The list goes on. Antonio Burks played with the Grizzlies and stuff for a while. Yeah, there's quite a bit of battles. A good buddy of mine who I've been talking with, Steven Adams now, I believe 11th or 12th pick of the
DePaul.
Of Oklahoma City. Just played against him a year and a half ago in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And we had pretty good conversations. He was talking to me about how he thought his game would translate when he went to Pitt. Because I was like, oh yeah, this is the kid. He's going to Pittsburgh, and the next thing you know, he goes 1 year. He surprised the hell out of me. I know he comes from a really athletic family, but he's a 7-footer who can get up and down. Yeah. One of the better guys I've ever went against as far as size, who can go out and hedge a pick and roll, stay with a guard for a dribble and a half.
Yeah, and it's awesome.
He could end up taking Perkins' spot,
I think he is. I think he makes Perkins expendable especially because if you look at Perkins' contract. And man, Adams has learned so quickly. I mean, because he had very limited basketball experience. Just in New Zealand, he hadn't played a lot of organized ball and not against a lot of really high competition. And for him to, to make that jump, and then even in college, the first year, there were people that were disappointed with the way he performed. But I think, starting at the combine, man, he really, really stepped up big. So, yeah.
That's an excellent point. Yeah. That's exactly kind of how I saw it, too. When we played against him, he's extremely raw. I think I believe in the first game we played against him, he got in foul trouble, but he was blocking a ton of shots, affecting a ton of shots. His game definitely fits the pro game more than it fits the college game.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I can't remember. I think the first year when I was there, if you remember Eric Devendorf, I think he was his point guard.
Yeah, he played.
So
didn't he go to Syracuse?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, Syracuse. I remember Syracuse very well from them little ass jerseys and big shorts that they were wearing. That new Nike look.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, Steven Adams I'm very proud of that guy. He's really, I saw him the other night against the Clippers, and then he took that ball in the mouth from Vince Carter and just shook it off like a champ.
Oh, he's a tough dude. Yeah, he's not anybody I think you want to really get into a scrape with. He's a tough dude.
He grew up playing rugby and, traveling around. Those guys get after it. But playing over there compared to playing in Europe when I was over in Australia and New Zealand, That's more of an Americanized basketball. Like they really want to pound it in with the big side, with the bigs, a lot of pick and roll. So like his game could translate. I think that's why it's easier for him. Whereas in Europe, they love stretch fours, stretch fives, really spreading it out, picking pops everywhere, outlet it to a big guy. You know, it's something I wasn't used to. You know, it's just a different style of ball.
Got it, man.
Oh, Young Dusty was another guy.
Oh, I'm
when
waiting.
we played against them.
I'm waiting on him, man. I'm waiting on him. He's extremely explosive. He had to learn how to put the ball on the floor a little bit better and knock down that shot from perimeter, because I really think his best position is a 3-4. You know, but we'll see. But I've actually been watching him before he came over to Washington. I was like, man, something about this guy is really intriguing. You know, I don't know if you remember this guy, but he kind of reminds me of Bobby Jones. Yeah, it's similar type of game. Him size. I think he could really be a defensive stopper like Bobby Jones was. He just, he just got to believe that that's an important part of the game. You know, that's one thing. And one of the reasons why I asked you that, man, because I know your knowledge of basketball is deep, and I also wanted to highlight that, just these are the type of people that are working on these games. These are not just some guys who've never played the game. These are not just some guys who, barely know a roster. These are guys that know the game, that are designing these games. So that's something that I think that, the gamers out here need to know and need to respect. The people that these companies are hiring to actually design these games and get noticed because they establish OG Sports, they know this game. So that was one of the reasons why I wanted to go into that, though.
I appreciate that, man. And I think that's kind of the culture change here, at least at the Tiburon studio. Now with Cam Weber coming about, you see my buddy Clint Oldenburg, former NFL offensive lineman. Like now we got double team pass blocking in, like a true pocket. Like these are things now that you and I, as diehards, we've just been screaming for. Where is double team pass blocking? To Johnny, that might not matter,
right?
But it matters to me.
Yeah.
I like to see the difference in a 34 front between a 43 if I'm going to double team the nose. And, that stuff is important to me. It's strategic. It's real life. It's real football. That's what you play. You play it for competition. And here, I've been very fortunate with Sean O'Brien. It's just him, and we brought in Connor Dugan as well. Like, they just let me go.
Yeah.
Like, they haven't really put their thumb on me, where maybe in years past it was like, hey, I've been a game designer, I'm this guy, I've been here for so many years. They didn't do that. There's like, here, OG, we're going to let you go, and if there's if there's issues with this or that, then we'll correct it along the way. Because my job is just make the best game for you. I'm building the game for you, not for me, but so it's like you can feel like, hey, I'm a Bulls fan, I want to feel like D Rose.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? No game's done that. You could say, oh, well, his speed is this. No, I want his one-to-one movement. His basic, all of his dribble moves. So we took, for instance, we went into Synergy and charted all of his moves. So we have 6 directions that you can do it on the right stick, and we charted every single move he had from the year before, and said, oh, okay, he wanted to go double cross here when the ball was in his right hand. So that's his move he's going to get. That they went that deep.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, and that's the type of thing that like you said is building a great foundation. We got to look forward and look ahead and see what's going to happen with the series moving forward. But like I started off my review, you can't start a resurgence or you can't start a comeback until you take that first step. And so, even a person like myself, who has been hardcore 2K for the last, I don't know how many years. And I be honest, I love the game this year. I love 2K14, but I totally acknowledge that competition is a good thing, because it drives both companies and both games to be their best. And I'm not implying that 2K was like taking it easy or anything like that, but it's going to make having live and 2K makes both games better. You know, so
No,
it's
man, you're 100% right.
yeah, at the end of the day, the gamer is going to benefit because they'll have a choice, and the designers know they have a choice, so it drives them just that much more to produce a better game.
Oh man, you're 100% right. And I know a couple of guys over there that are on the dev team, and man, I respect them a lot, man, a lot. You know, I remember trying to give them feedback back in like 2010, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, like it was, you know, hey, have you guys thought about this? You know, and just for me to say, hey, you know, we're going to go out there and we're going to stomp a mud hole in them and just be ignorant, like that's just a slap in their face. You know, they've made a very good game for quite some time now, and it's not about them. You know, it's about us and what we can control, what we're going to do here, and build a different experience.
Absolutely.
So people get so tied up. You know what I'm saying? You know that more than as well as I do. It's just people get so tied up into that, and what are they doing? What are we doing? No, I love competition. That's awesome. You know, I'm going to measure myself for what I'm going to do against what they're going to do, and I'm sure they're doing the same thing.
Yep.
So let's have fun with it, and then the consumer benefits the most.
Absolutely.
That's what's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, OG, man, I absolutely appreciate your time, man. It's been awesome. Great conversation. Man. Great conversation for sure. And I'll go ahead and let you go. I know you got a lot of work to do, but we'll definitely talk again.
Hey, absolutely, man. Anytime, man.
Okay, cool.